What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Credit Plug channel. So for today, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Now, one of the most common questions that I get from a lot of subscribers is, after I get the credit, how do I actually invest it? Because that's one of the biggest problems. You know, a lot of people by default go to the template businesses, Airbnb, Turo. I wanted to just think outside the box. What we're going to be doing now is just giving you guys just examples of what you could actually do with the capital once you get in. We're talking about business credit. We're doing a bit of a pivot as well, where I want to focus more on business credit, business capital versus, personal credit. Now, again, personal credit is cool, but at the end of the day, what are you going to do with all these credit cards or personal loans or lines of credit? It's just going to accumulate more consumer debt. But on the business side, you could actually leverage that capital to generate more money. So I feel like there's much more value and benefit when we're talking about credit from a business perspective. But again, the biggest problem that I see is that not all of us know, okay, what business do we actually get into, right? Getting capital is easy. How do you deploy that capital is the hard part. I just want to throw out some ideas to you guys, and we're going to be doing a lot of case studies and interviews and just exploring different franchises, different business models. So for today's video, we're actually going to be going to a Shipley's Donuts, right? And this came to my attention actually from one of our Patreon members who they were basically raving about this place. I checked them out. So for those who don't know, Shipley's is, I would say it's almost similar to like a Dunkin' Donuts. They serve coffee and donut. They make the donuts fresh on site. They are actually opening up new markets throughout the United States. They were originally in Houston, Texas. I think that's where they started, and they've been around for quite some time. Don't quote me on this, but I think they've been around for like 70, 80 years. So this is a proven, established brand. I wanted to see what all the hype's about. So they actually have like a flagship store here in Maryland, which I believe is the first and only store so far. They actually haven't even opened up new franchise opportunities in Maryland just yet. Virginia, it's open, and in a couple other states as well. It seems like they're going more like east of Texas versus east and north of Texas versus like the West Coast. But again, this is one of the fastest growing franchise brands in the country. I did get a chance to look at the FDD, which is the Franchise Disclosure Agreement. But yeah, so the top 25% of Shipley's donut franchises gross over $1.4 million. That presents a huge opportunity to just explore this concept in new markets. And again, ground floor opportunities are the best when you're bringing a proven concept into a new market. You already have past data, past performance that you can base an investment decision off of. So I wanted to check this out and see what it's about. We're out at Shipley's Donuts here in Odenton, right here off of Annapolis Road. Some of my clients have been raving about this. I'm saying it's their best donuts they've ever tasted. So I'm gonna go in here, check them out, see what they have to offer. Now, before we jump into the numbers and analyze the total investment costs, I did want to just give my impression on my first experience with Shipley. So I went probably like around 11:45, and then I also went a little bit later in the afternoon, probably like around 3 in the afternoon. First time I got a half dozen at about 11:45, and then I got another half dozen. I tried a variety of their donuts, and I also got their coffee, and they have what's called kolache or kolache. Is basically like a sausage inside of like a dough or something like that. My overall impression, their donuts were actually really good. Now, I've tried a bunch of different donut places like Dunkin' Donut, of course, Krispy Kreme, even Duck Donuts, which was popular around here for a while. Their donuts were actually pretty good. I would say it's better than Dunkin' Donuts. With Dunkin' Donuts, does, and this is from my understanding, is that they have basically a distribution center that ships the product out versus them actually making the product on site. So at Shipley's, the donuts, even though I got them around like almost close to noon and 3 in the afternoon, they were still relatively fresh. I would say if I could compare them, they're nothing like Duck Donuts. So like Duck Donuts actually use cake batter, right? So it's more like a cake versus like a floury type of donut. So Shipley's, their donuts are light and airy and fluffy. You can eat 2 or 3 of them and you know, be fine. If you go to Duck Donuts, you eat one of them and you feel like you're about to, you know, pass out. Like it's just a difference. Duck Donuts is not something you would frequent that often. I think that's probably why their business model struggled, because it's just not something you can eat every day. Whereas, I mean, I guess people eat Dunkin' Donuts every day. I will give Shipley's the edge. I think overall their donuts are better. And then their coffee was surprisingly good. And I just got a regular coffee with cream and sugar. In terms of their price point, I think I paid about $7 for half dozen, like $7.30 with tax and everything. That was actually pretty competitive. I mean, you go to Duck Donuts, I think at Duck Donuts, when you would buy a dozen, you're paying like 25, 26 bucks. So in terms of the price point, I think Shipley's is on par with like a Dunkin' Donuts, where something like this will be accessible to a wide range of different income levels. Whereas Duck Donuts, I don't think most people are trying to pay, you know, $25 for a dozen donuts, right? Or I think the half dozen is like $15, $14 or so. In terms of a price point, it is very competitive. Now, when I went there in the morning, the one observation I will say is that it didn't seem to be very busy. Now, mind you, the location where this was, it was more suited for, let's say, like the morning rush traffic, where they have a drive-through set up. People just go through the drive-through and, you know, get their donuts that way. But from what it looked like, there wasn't that much foot traffic like you would see, let's say, in a residential area where people walk up to a shopping center, or, you know, they're going to other stores and they also go to Shipley's. This was actually a standalone facility, and it wasn't in a really walkable area. So that's one observation I did notice. And the other thing I noticed, I was in there for about 10 minutes and no other customer walked in. And mind you, it could be the time of the day, but both times there were no other customers there. I was basically the only person in the store. So I don't know if most of their business is going to be in the morning time from, let's say, like 7 to 10. That's what it appears as though the bulk of their traffic comes in the earlier morning hours. You know, people who are commuting, going to work, grab donuts and coffee. One thing I am curious about is sort of the quality control, because they are making them on site. And I did read some of the reviews, and I think initially there were some issues with quality control. And of course, this is going to be in a lot of quick service or restaurants where staff and employees are just trying to get everything consistent to what you would experience, let's say, if you were to go to Texas or somewhere else where they've been established for a long time. They have all the processes, the systems, the recipes, everything sort of consistent. But overall, you know, the product was really good. The donuts were really good. The only concerns I would say from what I've observed was there wasn't that much traffic when I went there. And I don't know if this is because of the location it was at. Maybe people don't know about it. Maybe there's not that just organic foot traffic that you would see in like a shopping plaza or something like that. All right, so let's go over the overall Shipley Donuts brand. So right here we have the brand overview. And just to give you a background about Shipley. So Shipley's actually was founded in 1936 at the end of the Great Depression, when Lawrence Shipley created a gourmet recipe so delicious that they withstood the test of time. They're cut in hand and served hot every day throughout the day. And so pretty much they expanded over the years. They expanded to over 190 stores around the nation, including Alabama, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, as well as Texas. Today, they have over 344 Shipley donut shops, primarily in the southern U.S. Okay, so actually, I was wrong earlier in the video. 1936 is 2024, so they've actually been around for, what, 87, 88 years, if my math is correct. So here's just some examples of the different variety of donuts that they offer. So they have, you know, your traditional traditional donuts, but they also have, for example, like apple fritters and honey buns, and which are a little bit bigger, and it's actually a slightly different price point. Here's just sort of the layout. One thing I really like about walking into the store is that as soon as you go in, you see the full display of everything that they have to offer. And so, you know, visually, it's very appealing just to walk in and see that. Here's just an example of some of the different price points for their different donuts. So they offer a pretty wide range of different products, right? So they have the donuts, and these are your traditional flour donuts, but they also have cake donuts as well, which are a little bit more dense. And so they have an assortment of rolls, apple fritters, bear crawls, cinnamon rolls, and so forth. And then they have these kolaches, which, you know, have sausages and cheese, and they also have ham and jalapeno varieties as well. This is pretty much a breakdown of their sales, with 54% coming from a mix of donuts, 34% from kolaches, and then you have coffee, 4%, as well as other beverages. And I think this is actually one of their points of emphasis, is increasing sort of the variety of coffee. And from my perspective, you know, the coffee was actually really good. So maybe in the future, the percentage of sales might change. So they are poised for growth. Again, 87 years of success. So this is an established, proven brand, 230 plus committed units for development. In 2023, they had 30 plus planned openings. The total donut market size based off of 2022 data is 7.3 billion. The coffee industry, 48 billion. And there's a 26% system-wide sales growth. Now, here's really where the opportunity lies. Now, right here, it shows you sort of their market dominance in the state of Texas, right? So 271 locations, Dunkin' Donuts, 116. That's actually surprisingly low for Dunkin' Donuts in Krispy Kreme. So this is just in the Texas market. So in Texas, Shipley's really dominates. But when we look on the national scale, of course, Dunkin' Donuts is the dominant player, and then Krispy Kreme as well. So this just basically tells you that there's a lot of opportunity for Shipley's to penetrate into different markets. And to be honest with you, I think all of these brands are somewhat distinguishable. I would say Shipley's is maybe in between Dunkin' and Krispy Kreme in terms of their product. Now, again, Krispy Kreme, to me, is like very sugary. They put a lot of glaze, and in my opinion, it's over the top. So I'm not the biggest fan of Krispy Kreme. I think they put way too much sugar and glaze on their donuts. Dunkin' Donuts is a little bit lighter, and then Shipley's is like a good mix, but they also give you the fresh taste. So this right here just kind of shows you the potential opportunity on a national and international scale, because again, there's only 340 plus locations of Shipley's. But from what I've seen, this is definitely something that you can see in a lot of different cities, like you do see with Dunkin' Donuts. Now, this just lays out their growth plans. And again, this is based off 2023. Things may have changed a little bit, but in red, you see some of the key target states. So these are states where they are currently offering franchise opportunities, and in gray is where you actually see, future states. And right here just shows the store count projections for 2022 all the way out through 2026. So as you can see, they're definitely expanding a lot. Now, here's just a list of some of the incentives. Now, mind you, this document is dated in 2023, so this may not be, in fact, accurate at this particular point. But for new or existing franchisees that commit to a franchise agreement, they do have 12 months at 1%. And this is for royalties if the shop is open within 14 months of executing a franchise agreement. And then for new or existing franchisees that commit to multi-shop development agreements, you get 50% off of one shop if open within 14 months of executing a franchise agreement, and 50% off the second shop if open within 20 months of the execution of a franchise agreement. So basically, they're giving you a discount on the royalties if you open up multiple locations within a certain time frame. So as you can see, the royalty decreases if you commit to multiple shops and you open them within, let's say, a 24-month time frame, or 14 to 20 month, depending on how many shops. So these are just incentives that they're offering for franchisees. All right, so let's get into the numbers, right? So in terms of the franchise requirements, now the minimum net worth is $750,000 with liquid assets of $225,000. There is a $40,000 franchise fee, $10,000 development fee, and there is a 5% royalty of gross sales. The initial investment per shop ranges between $655,000 and about $1.3 to $1.4 million. Now, here's just a breakdown of the estimated investment. Now, again, there's a lot of different factors that go into this. So this isn't going to be exactly the same for every franchisee, but the range they give you is basically, again, from the 655,000, that's at the low end, and at the high end, you know, a little bit over 1.3 to 1.4 million. Now, you could actually go on their website and fill out this form if you're interested in receiving additional information. Now, again, just some high level information. 1.44 million average unit volume, and it has this asterisk. And so the 1.44 average unit volume is basically the sales of the franchise, but the asterisk basically is saying that this is for the top 25% of franchises. So not every franchise averages 1.44 million. It's the top 25% of stores. They have over 125 plus store unit commitments, 340 plus locations open, and 26% same store sales increase over 24 months. Now, why Shipley's, right? Now, and this is something I've been saying. It's a proven business model, right? So over 80 years of successful operation. And then, you know, when you're in a franchise, you have the support of the franchisor. So a lot of the systems, a lot of the marketing, you get to leverage the intellectual property. So it's not like you have to build something from scratch. We already went over this. So these are the different incentives for single unit franchises and multi-unit franchises. So, you know, you get a 1% of the gross sales and royalty. So they basically just give you a discount on the royalties that you would be paying. Now, this is actually one of the big opportunities, I would say, for growth, is the expansion of their coffee selection. Once they start to implement a wider variety of different coffee beverages, I think the sales would definitely increase a lot more as well. Again, just to recap some of the numbers at a high level: $40K franchise fee per store, $750,000 per store developed minimum net worth, $225K per store developed minimum liquid assets, and then the total range of the investment, excluding real estate, is a minimum of 655 up to 1.4 million plus. So you might be wondering, where are you going to get $225,000 to be able to open up your Shipley store? Now, here's where I got a solution for you in this Jumpstart loan program from Unsecure Funding Source. And this is specifically catered for acquisition entrepreneurship. So this is for entrepreneurs who are looking to acquire businesses or specifically open up new franchises. So again, the Jumpstart loan is specifically designed for business startups, acquisitions, and franchise purchases, offering a maximum amount of flexibility and unique credit terms based on both personal and business creditworthiness where applicable. The Jumpstart loan from USF is perfect for entrepreneurs with great credit who want to avoid the hassles of SBA or conventional lending. All right, so let's go over the features of the Jumpstart loan. So loan amounts from $50,000 to $250,000. Like I just showed you with Shipley's, you need 225 of liquid capital, and they go up to $250,000. Now, the terms range from 5 up to 10 years with manageable monthly payments. There's no personal real estate or collateral required. And one of the great things is that this does not report to your personal credit, so it's not going to affect your DTI. They have introductory interest only or deferred payments available for qualified borrowers. This is perfect for pre-revenue startups, and it's also great for first unit franchises. You can also use this for existing business acquisitions or franchise resales. Now, here's sort of the caveats, right? So let's say if you want to borrow some money through the Jumpstart loan program to, let's say, open up a Shipley's. Well, it's not going to be based off of any business information, no business taxes, no business financials. It's going to be based off of your personal information. So any beneficial owners of the business can use their personal finances. So your personal income, household income, as well as your personal credit to qualify for this acquisition loan, right? So because of that, the requirements are somewhat high, right? So it has high level requirements. So excellent credit, 750 plus across the board, low debt to income with excellent payment history, personal liquidity of 50,000 or greater. And you also must have current income. So this is perfect for W-2 or 1099. Let's say, you already have a really good job and you've been working for years, but you want to move into entrepreneurship, something with a proven business model. You want to open up a franchise. You can leverage your W-2 information, your data points to qualify for this. And you must have a registered business. So again, you're going to create a business entity when you, let's say, open up a new franchise. So when it says registered business, it just has to have you just have to, have an EIN, but the business doesn't have to be generating any revenue. You don't have to provide any business financials, business taxes, profit and loss statement. None of that's going to be applicable, especially with a new franchise. So this particular Jumpstart loan program from Unsecured Funding Source, again, is specifically designed for franchises, franchise resales, as well as acquiring existing businesses. With the Jumpstart loan program, they do not require any existing business financials. So you can get approved for up to $250,000 to open up your brand new business without having to provide any business financial information. You don't need business credit. You don't need business taxes. You don't need business financials for a new franchise. Now, the great thing about the Jumpstart loan program is that you can get pre-approved before you decide which franchise you want to open up. So you don't necessarily have to sign a franchise agreement or have an existing business under contract. You can click the link right below, get pre-approved, and then once you actually decide what business you want to acquire, at that point, you could then apply that funding towards the purchase of that business. And another caveat I wanted to just throw out there. So the Jumpstart loan program does only go up to $250,000. However, Unsecured Funding Source also provides additional business funding outside of the Jumpstart loan program that goes up to $400,000. Now, if you're looking to acquire a business now or in the future, the best thing you can do is have the funds available so that you can execute on these ground floor opportunities and build your wealth. So click the link right down below, get pre-approved through the Jumpstart loan program, and you can get funding for your new franchise opportunity and get started towards building your legacy today. Anyways, that's all for today's video. Let me know your comments and questions down below. And until next time, take it easy and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.